Our next guest is Academy Award nominated and Tony, a Grammy and Emmy winning composer, lyricist, arranger, and producer whose work you know from Saturday Night Live. Beloved movies like When Harry Met Sally, Sister Act, and Sleepless in Seattle, and the Broadway musicals Hairspray, Smash, and Some Like It Hot. His memoir, Nevermind the Happy, A Showbiz Stories from a Sore Winner, is available now. Please welcome to the show, Marc Shaiman, everybody! I'm so happy you're here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Congratulations on the book. I want to ask, Nevermind the Happy is a very unique title. Where does it come from?
It comes from my Jewish mother. My sister called my mom one New Year's Day and said, "Ma, I want to be the first to wish you a happy and healthy New Year." And my mother said, "Never mind the happy." So it sort of defines me, and I titled the book that because it's sort of about all these wonderful things that have happened for me in my life. I mean, endless amount of iconic projects I've gotten to work on, and yet I'm always sort of Eeyore. I'm always seeing the glass is half empty.
Did it even, I would imagine, like, as you revisit everything for the book, you couldn't even sort of non-Eeyore that, the process?
Yeah, you know, I think I actually wrote the book. I think I was going through a little depressing moment, and I thought, you know what, if I write and remember all these things, maybe I'll cheer up, you know? I mean, I guess I'm tooting my own horn also, but it was for me to remember all these wonderful things that I've gotten to do. And it also is can maybe inspire other people to see that I've had endless amount of dreams come true. I mean, true dreams come true.
We shared a stage once. And it was sort of a dream come true for me, which is you worked with Martin Short on his wonderful Broadway show. And he would, as Jiminy Glick, excuse me, he would bring an audience member up every night, somebody that obviously been arranged ahead of time. So I was on stage with you on Broadway.
Yes.
And that was a really special show.
In the show, Marty's character, Marty Short, got hit by lightning for telling a lie. And I played him suddenly in the hospital bed so that Jiminy Glick could come on and visit Marty and then invite a guest from the audience. So yes, I was in the hospital bed as you did your interview. And then I don't know if you remember this, but at the end of that scene, I got up and I walked towards the white light and turned my back with a hospital gown open in the back and showed a Broadway audience, 8 shows a week, my ass.
Yeah. But many dreams coming true.
I found out that if you don't have to look people in the eye while you're doing it, I didn't mind it at all.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I have no plans tonight.
The good news, it's almost impossible to show people your ass and look them in the eye at the same time.
Well.
Oh, you're right. You can help me do it. You wrote on SNL
I did.
for a bit of time, and the Sweeney Sisters, which was a favorite of mine, Nora Dunn.
Thank you for remembering. See, this is the problem. This is why I wrote the book. I almost called it Google Me, because whenever I work on a new project and there are younger people working on it, and then eventually they come up to me and they say, "Did you work on Sister Act? Did I see your name on this and that?" And I'm always saying, "Google me and we'll talk tomorrow." So yeah, I worked on SNL in the 80s, and the Sweeney Sisters were 2 lounge singers.
Yep, Jan Hooks, Nora Dunn.
Did medleys, yeah, Nora Dunn and the late great Jan Hooks. We did a Christmas medley once, and that's the only one that seems to end up on YouTube. And it has become an endless thing with people. When they look at, they insist I had a mullet.
Oh, because you actually were the accompanist in the sketches.
Yes, I was on screen as whatever my name was in the sketches. So I insist I wasn't trying to have a mullet. I want the audience to decide.
Hold on, let me find your mullet photo here.
I wasn't a mullet.
It's a mullet. All right, there you are. That's a mullet.
No.
What do you think it is?
Maybe an unintentional mullet? I don't know. Now I got nothing.
No. I want to ask about... you worked with, to speak of the late great, you worked with the late great Rob Reiner.
Yes.
And obviously a tremendous loss. Condolences on your friend. What were your memories of working with Rob?
Well, working here at SNL when I met Marty and then I met Billy Crystal. And Billy Crystal is such a mensch that when he was working on When Harry Met Sally with Rob, he asked Rob, what are you going to do for the music? And Rob said, I want a guy who knows like every song in the American Songbook. And Billy was like, have I got a guy for you? Billy used to call me Rain Jew because he said I could just knew every song. I don't even know how it happened, but I did. And so he introduced me to Rob, and I did When Harry Met Sally, and then every movie Rob did after that, almost like 16 movies. He literally gave me my film career. My film career just fell in my lap by Rob Reiner throwing it there. And, you know, more than even the music I got to write for all of Rob's movies, my memory of him is just, as you would know in showbiz, the hang.
Yeah.
It's all about the hang. Once you know that you're working with people who can do what needs to get done, it really just becomes about the people you want to be hanging out with. And so Rob would come over and listen to what I was doing, and maybe we'd spend a half an hour listening to music and 2 hours kibitzing, you know, just...
Yeah, and he was great at it.
Shooting the can I say?
Yeah, you can.
So...
you should ask before you say it.
Oh.
You mentioned your film career because it really was the collaborations you have are something else, including there you go, Matt and Trey, South Park. This iconic photo. There you are in the background.
Well, I got to work on the South Park movie, which was just the greatest gig you can imagine. To get to
nominated for an Academy Award.
Yes.
Wait, that is, you know,
But it was an honor just to be animated.
Yeah, there you go. That was a very special. I mean, I think when that movie came out, nobody would expect that it would have an Oscar-nominated song in it. But then, of course, once you saw the movie, it made all the sense in the world. Did you know, as you were working on it, like this is going to be a special thing?
I knew it was just the greatest gig I ever had in the movies. And then I was lucky enough to be nominated for the movie Patch Adams with Robin Williams. And I was at the nominee luncheon. You know, they have a lovely, tasteful nominee luncheon. And a woman in pearls, a very tasteful woman, said, so, Mr. Shaman, what are you working on now? And I didn't have the heart to say to her, well, this whole weekend, I had the South Park Sound Library send me all their fart sound effects. Because Trey wrote the song, and this is one song that Trey wrote all by himself, the classic, I'm going to say a bad word now.
Yeah, please.
Uncle.
Yeah.
But it was my idea that the character singing the song, Terrence and Phillip, they love to laugh about farting.
Yeah.
I can say farting, right?
Yeah.
So far, wow, I'm hitting them all.
Certainly, if you could say the first two, you can say farting.
So it was my idea that they would have a fart tap dance break. And so even in the morning of the nominee luncheon, I was sitting at the computer with all the digital fart sound effects, figuring out how to go. So go home, Google it, watch it, and you'll hear it's my tap dance extravaganza with farts. And
it's your Mr. Holland's opus.
Yes. But I didn't tell her that. I didn't have the heart. And then a year later, we were nominated, and at that nominee luncheon.
There you go. And by the way, a song that holds up. I do want to stress. Bette Midler, you dedicate the book to her, and this is really an incredible story. I mean, I personally kind of can't believe I have met Bette Midler. Like, she was deeply important to me growing up, but way more to you. And,
really?
And my parents loved Bette Midler albums, and we listened to them all the time. And she's just a dynamo. But you were a young person who...
Yeah, I mean, I was like 13 when Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy hit the radio, and she became a big star on Johnny Carson. And all I wanted to do was work with Bette Midler, and I stole money from my father's wallet once and cut school and went to New York to see her in concert, and had this fantasy that I was going to run down the aisle and say, oh, Miss Midler, I know every note of every song on every album. Please let me play for you. And then just by sheer luck, the first people I met when I moved to New York when I was 16, one of them, Scott Whitman, who became my co-lyricist and my lover, as we used to say, for 25 years, he lived across the hall from one of Bette Midler's backup singers. So, you know, who could have dreamed that that would happen? And they were starting their own group when they weren't on the road with Bette Midler. And because I was right there and I knew the harmonies they wanted to do because of my love for Bette Midler, I became their musical director. Then Bette said, girls, come back on the road. And to make a long story short, I was flown to LA. I got to watch Bette Midler rehearse. And then she called the song out to her band, and the band didn't know it. And one of the harlots said, see you back here. And so Bette Midler said, do you know how to play No Gesturing? And she got to walk to a stage and say, oh, Miss Midler, I know every note of every album and every song. It's an absolute true story.
What a thing. Congratulations on the book, an incredible career.
Thank you.
Marc Shaiman, everybody's memoir. Nevermind the Happy is available now. We'll be right back.